What's up, everybody? Welcome to Crackin' Hunters. Of course, I am Carolina H1tman, and I got something in this week that I wanted to talk about. I'm very excited to talk about, and it is this beautiful statue sitting right next to me. And this is, of course, a Quarter to Dead statue, which it's no secret that this is my favorite line coming out of Sideshow. I've mentioned it in other reviews of the Quarter to Dead line that I've done previously. And as you can see from the detail, you can understand why it's one of my favorite lines. But this is actually Xiall, and she's from the Quarter to Dead. And this is an amazing piece of work right here, and I'm actually excited to talk about it today. So, you guys and gals know that I don't like to spend too much time on opening, but I'm gonna give you some background on this particular character. So, without further ado, let's begin. If you're familiar with my channel or my previous reviews, you know this is the section where I like to give a little background history on whatever character I plan on reviewing for the day. And this lady right here is called Xiall, and of course she's from the Quarter to Dead. In my previous reviews, you already know I've mentioned that in the underworld there are three factions: the Bone faction, Spear faction, and the Flesh faction. And as you can tell by the look of this one, Xiall is actually part of the Bone faction, which of course I am wearing the shirt right now for the Bone faction. Figured it was fitting for this review. Of course, she's part of the Bone faction, and she is the Chancellor of the Council of Osteomancer. I guess that's how you pronounce that word. And a lot of the information I get on any Quarter to Dead character comes from their Chronicle of the Underworld book that they've had in Sideshow, which I highly recommend. And she's in charge of creating all the rules in the underworld. She is the highest administrative authority in the underworld, and Death created her to be both logical and dedicated. And she's actually one of Death's 12 original creations. I love the background history that the Chronicle of the Underworld book gives, because it goes into great detail about each character, with the exception of Xiall. I guess they made her before they actually made the book, but I do appreciate them setting up a background for each character that they bring out in this line. And they have actually a comic book as well. Well, I don't know if we really call it a graphic novel or comic book, either or. But it's actually pretty good. I've read it, and it's actually pretty good. It actually gives a little bit more history to go along with the Chronicle of the Underworld book. So I'd highly recommend you picking it up. It's a good read, and the artwork in the Chronicles of the Underworld book is amazing, and I think the art in the comic book as well is pretty good. But I think I'm done talking and explaining who this is. I think it's time for us to get a close-up look at some of the details that Xiall has. So I am excited. So let's get started on this close-up review of this beautiful statue. So of course, everybody, you all know that I like to give the face the first overlook when I'm doing my review. And I think this is a very detailed facial, whatever you want to call it. But I think they did an amazing job on this. I love how they did the eyes. That was one of the main things I liked. And as you can see, I'm gonna see if I can get a close up on her eyes, where you can see the little black bars behind them. If you look from a distance, you can't really see them, and it gives the perception that her eyes are just floating there and not actually hanging on to anything. And that was I really enjoyed that, looking at that. I love the way it looks like they're glowing. So the paint on that is amazing. I like it a lot. I actually remembered to put my rotating table on the table today, unlike the last couple reviews. But give y'all a good look at the front and back. Don't want to get hit with the staff. So now I'm gonna focus, it's already got it in the back. I'll focus on these little things right here. I guess these are, I don't know what these are exactly, but what they are connected to like little metal strings, little metal wire. That's one of the things I think with each statue, they get a little bit more detailed and actually making I think they're taking a lot of risks, and I appreciate that. Here we go. Turn it back around for all of you. And I will say this, If you ever decide to pick this up, I highly recommend going on YouTube and looking at the Sideshow video for how to actually properly put this together, because it can be a pain, because there are a lot of parts to put together in this statue. Like, this is actually separatable. I guess that's the word. We're going to make it a word today. But yeah, this actually separates, held together by a magnet. Let's see, get a good look down here. And the feet. I actually really like the staff, by the way. That's actually really well done. I like the look of that. There we go, get a good close up of it. Of course, as always, paint application is perfect. No defects or anything, which I've come to expect that from the Quarter of the Dead line. So those guys and gals do a really good job, putting out quality work. And these actually are actual small chains right here to give you the hang off of her. I said, just a lot of detail, a lot of little small things. And I think that's what helps elevate these statues above a lot of the other statues they bring out in Sideshow. There's a lot of little details they put into it. Let's see. Give you a good look at her scroll. And this is actually a face. Let's see if I can get in there so you can actually see it. Yeah, this is actually a face in her scroll. And again, they have their language of the underworld written on there. I have no clue what any of that says, but again, small details help bring a statue to life, in my opinion, and they do a good job of doing that. Let's see. Go down to the base right quick. Base isn't really nothing special. It looks like that. I ain't even gonna rotate it because it looks like this all the way around. You can't see it. Let me see if I can get in here. Look like there's a tomb of something that she's standing on. That's what it looks like to me. Because you can see the bone, the rib cage, and everything like that, and it's twisted sideways. And it looks like it would fit in there. Let me get on back here so y'all can see this as well. Another skull. Said the base is still really good. Said it's, the sides of it is a little plain, but again, I have no complaints about it. So yes, like I said, if you guys or gals pick this up, please go to their go to the YouTube page, and so it can show you how to put all this together. And this is actually, I had to tie this up, her scrolls. I said, man, this is just an amazing statue. It's like, they seem to get more detail. Now this one I think was the one right before my favorite piece of the line, which was Melivestros. I think this was the one right before that one was released. See, even right here, I'm trying to give you guys all the little details in it. Get this thing to focus. There we go. Like, it's got little hands right here that actually hold this. This comes out. Let me stick that back in there. It's like this holding her, little hands holding her cloak or whatever you want to call that. Again, like I said, again, the chains. You actually have to wrap this all around her hands. And speaking of her cloak, this is actually a lot of fabric for that. I mean, it's a lot. Put it around here a little bit for y'all. Bring it around. I said, like I said, just an amazing job by the Quarter of the Dead team. There we go. Get a good look up in there. Like I said, really good job on the fabric. I can understand why this one was a little bit more expensive. I think this was the same price as Melivestros, which was $5.99, which basically is $600. And another good look at the figure. I missed that one where you can see the bones and the jaws. Like I said, it's just an amazing statue altogether. There we go. See all the little skulls in her. I don't even know what you would call that. No, that can't be a wreath, but whatever it is, or bone, I want to call it a bone wreath, whatever you want. You can call it whatever you like, but that's what I'm calling it today. See all the little skulls in there? Sorry, just focusing on the stuff I got in the background for some reason. There we go. Those little skulls. And I think it really does a good job making her actually look like bone. Which on her feet, never knew bone bent that way, but I'm gonna go with it today. Now that's one of the most impressive things, the shading and the color texture. It actually makes it look like bone. And that was another impressive thing that Sideshow's done with this piece. So I think I've given you all a good look over of her statue. So I think it's time to close out the video. As you all can tell, I get really excited when I talk about the Court of the Dead. That's probably the main pieces I enjoy reviewing because it has so many details and just a lot of little minor things they do on these statues that really bring them to life. And I get excited when I talk about them because it's an original piece. It's based on nothing at all but what they created themselves. And for me, that deserves praise, if for nothing else. They did a really excellent job on this. And like I said, I've expected them the Court of the Dead team to continue to elevate their line the way that they've done. Like I say, each statue has progressed as far as complexity and quality with each one. And I think compared to Melivestros, you can see where this one is so detailed and a lot of quality in it, but then you go to Melivestros, you can see where they elevated their game again and made it even more detailed and where it stood out even more. And that's one of the things I really appreciate about the Court of the Dead line is how they elevate their game with each statue. I would highly recommend picking this up. Unfortunately, on Sideshow's website, it's waitlisted, which means that it's technically sold out, but you can not apply, but basically put a spot in that if someone cancels their order, you can take their place. I was lucky enough to get this on eBay for a very reasonable price. If you're not able to pick it up through Sideshow, I highly recommend going through some statue forums or eBay and trying to find this piece, especially if you're a fan of the Court of the Dead line and missed out on picking it up in Sideshow. But this is an amazing piece and I highly recommend it. Even if you're not a fan of the Court of the Dead in general, but just love beautiful statues and quality work, I highly recommend this. So please do what you can to pick it up, find it however you got to. I really recommend it. But thanks everybody for joining me today. I'm glad I got to review this piece and I'm glad I was able to find it and on eBay at a reasonable price. But don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll continue to put out videos at least every 2 to 3 days. Like I said before, work's got me working a little bit of overtime, so it's kind of hard for me to really set a definite schedule, but I do try to put out videos at least once every 2 to 3 days. So I'm hoping that I'll get to review my next one. So just keep looking out for more videos. Like I said, I appreciate all the subscriptions that I've been getting lately. I appreciate your support. But it's time for me to close out. I gotta get ready to go to some sleep. I didn't get actually doing this review after work. But I thank you all for joining me. Hope to see you again. It's Carolina H1tman from Kraken Hunters. Signing out.